Well, good evening, everyone. I think it's going to be one of those evenings tonight. 5 in the lift so far stuck, and how many more we don't know yet. But we'll continue and get on with it as best we can. And I'd like to extend to you a very warm welcome. It couldn't be anything else, could it, on a night like this? It really is a warm one, and we'll have the doors open and as much air conditioning going as we can. But I would like to extend this welcome to all our delegates and the sponsors and the staff to this Way Ahead 2009, together with this evening our speaker, Sheena McDonald. This year we are celebrating our 30th anniversary, and it looks as though we are in for an enjoyable weekend with lots of interesting and stimulating workshops and speakers. I look forward to meeting up with you, all of you that is, over the next 3 days. But I did learn this evening that one of our members has been awarded the MBE in this year's honours list, and I thought it well to mention that Pam Munro received the MBE for services to Headway, Tunbridge Wells. You didn't know that, Pam, did you? You didn't know I knew that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope we all have a super weekend and let battle commence.
I'd like to welcome Sheena McDonald, who some of you may know from Newsnight. She's a journalist and also has personal experience of brain injury. So without more ado, I'd like to introduce Sheena.
Mandy, thank you very much indeed, and I am not on Newsnight. That's Kirsty Wark. And Kirsty is the wife of my husband's best friend. And I was in a crush bar in a theatre in Moscow some years ago, and I could see an older couple coming up to me, wreathed in smiles. And they came up, and he touched me on the arm, and he said, "Kirsty Wark." And I thought, you know, you can't disappoint people, so I just smiled. So thank you very much, Randy. And thank you all very much for inviting me to contribute to your birthday celebrations, and congratulations on hitting 30. The next decade's very good. After that, well, we'll see. I'm actually quite surprised to be here, because traditionally after-dinner speeches are intended to relax and entertain the company, and given your daily responsibilities, you undoubtedly deserve some entertainment. But you've got me. So I'll do my best. I've had the privilege of sitting between your chair and your chief executive, and they assure me that sex, religion and politics always go down very well. So look out for them. You see, when Mandy contacted me to invite me to tonight's event, I was a tad puzzled, because I have not benefited directly from Headway's work, although I know that thousands of folk have, and that sufferers of brain injury and their carers across the country and beyond are grateful that Headway exists and provides counsel and information. Indeed, when I got married all of 3 years ago, my fiancé and I were so long in the tooth, that's the sex, by the way, my fiancé and I were already so long in the tooth that we replaced any wedding list with a short list of charities that anyone who felt inclined to mark our wedding might contribute to. We nominated 4, and Headway was one. And why did we? Well, no. I mean, that's simply, we chose Headway because 10 years ago I became a headline I was a successful broadcaster and journalist. I presented numerous programmes apart from Newsnight for BBC Radio and Television, Channel 4, Television, Channel 5, RTB, etc., etc., etc. One February night in 1999, I was knocked down by a police van while crossing the road. And the van was being driven on the wrong side of the road. And my head took the brunt of the hit. I suffered what much later I learned is called, and this is not a term I knew at the time, a traumatic brain injury. And that, I think, is why I've been invited to speak to you, because the nature of my injury was such that, according to the textbooks, I shouldn't be doing this. So perhaps I do have something to say about TBI, and perhaps my new ambition should to become a medical textbook footnote. So 10 years on, let me say a couple of things. I'm not going to offer any advice, just share some experiences and opinion. My first point is that the important letter in the acronym TBI is I. In your practical guide to head injury, which your chief exec has pointed out, my copy of is very, very old. However, in your practical guide, which I think is very good, you state that the most common causes of head injury are road traffic accidents, domestic or industrial accidents, sports and recreational injuries, and assaults. So I'd be categorised as a as a traffic accident victim.
No, you're not a victim, you're a survivor.
Thank you. Well, that's a very good comment, because in my opinion, there can be traffic accidents, but the great majority of crashes are a result of cause and effect. So, for instance, driving on the wrong side of the road is not done by accident. What all too often results from this is at best injury and often death. And road injuries and deaths are now so common worldwide that this autumn, as you may know, the first ever United Nations conference addressing their implications is going to be held in Moscow. Thanks in part to campaigning by the Global Road Safety Commission, the side effects of spiralling road building and vehicle use in the developing world, where the great majority of head injuries happen, is going to be addressed and maybe tackled. And the motivation for this event is actually not so much compassion as economic, because national economies are suffering from the virtual decimation of workforces and breadwinners by road injuries. And that's a fine motivation as far as I'm concerned, if it leads to safer roads and road use. My point is that accident is very rarely the appropriate word to describe what can happen on roads. And when the World Health Organization launched its road safety campaign 4 years ago with the slogan, "Road safety is no accident," they made a point of referring to injuries, deaths, crashes, never accidents. However, I'm not trashing your book, because I think your book's actually very good. It's full of wise words, and it has that very fundamental truth that there are no absolute answers and certainly no solutions to brain injury, because every individual is different, has a unique brain, every case is different. It's hard, it's almost impossible to generalise about likely consequences and prognoses. If you take my case, after I was knocked down, I was taken by